My name is McKay Killian, and my presentation is on RSA cryptography algorithm. It's safe to say that the world needs the internet. Communicating through text, email, and online messaging is certainly a part of most people's daily lives. Historically, it was very common to use shared keys to encrypt and decrypt data, which were shared among who needed to read and write it. This was a very simple system. For example, John will have a message they want to send to Nick. John will use a key to encrypt it, then send an encrypted message via the internet, and give Nick the key so he can decrypt it. The problem was, to share the secure key, people often had to call each other on the phone or meet up in person, because sending the key over the internet, well, defeated the purpose. And you never know who could be listening to your phone calls. There had to be a way where we could share data on the internet without worrying about losing our keys to people who we don't trust. Luckily, RSA was invented to save the day. In 1977, a new way to encrypt data was invented by three MIT colleagues, Ron Rivest, Adi Shamir, and Leonard Edelman. They named the new cryptography RSA, taking the initials of their last names. With RSA, each person holds two keys, a public key and a private key. To send data, people can encrypt their message using their receiver's public key, then send the encrypted message online. Afterwards, the receiver will use their private key to decrypt the message. Public key is accessible to everyone, while private key will never be shared. Unlike previous methods requiring securely exchanged keys to encrypt and decrypt messages, RSA provided a method for encryption and decryption without both parties needing a shared secret key. So how does this all work? First, we will look at how to do the encryption and decryption. Let's say John wants to send a message to Nick. The message contains the letter B. First, we'll get the value of letter B. In this case, we'll use the integer 2, since B is the second letter in the alphabet. To encrypt the message, we will take the value 2, raise it to the power of 5, which comes from the public key, and get the modulus 14, which also comes from the public key. The resulting number is 4. 4 corresponds to the letter D, so Nick will receive the letter D as an encrypted message. To decrypt the message, Nick will follow a very similar step. First, he will take the letter D and get its value, which is 4. Then, to decrypt the message, raise 4 to the power of 11, which comes from the private key, and get the modulus 14. The result is 2, which, as we know, corresponds to the letter B. Nick was able to decrypt the message. Then, how do we generate the RSA keys? Step 1. We'll pick two prime numbers, P and Q. In this example, we will set P to 2 and Q to 7. Step 2. Multiply the two numbers to get n. In this case, n is 2 times 7, which is 14. Step 3. List all of the numbers 1 through n. Step 4. Only keep the numbers that are coprimes with 14. Coprime meaning the numbers don't share a factor with 14. If the number has 2 or 7 in its factor, it'll be removed. Step 5. The number of the numbers left we will call phi. In this case, phi is 6. There's a formula called Euler-Totient to make this calculation easy, but for this presentation, it is out of scope. Step 6. We will choose a number we will call e from the list that fulfills two requirements. E must be greater than 1 and less than 5. Less than 6. That leaves the number 2, 3, 4, and 5. The second requirement is that e must be a coprime with n and phi. In this example, 5 is the only value that works for e. Step 7, we will choose a number d such that d times e mod phi is 1. In this case, 5, 11, 7, 23, and so on meets this requirement. Since 5 is already being used for the public key, we will use 11 for the private key. So why does this work? William Stanley Jevons once said to the readers of Book of Science, "Can the readers say what 2 multiplied together will produce a number, the following? I think it unlikely that anyone but myself will ever know." Prime numbers are an essential part of most cryptography algorithms. RSA uses 2 prime numbers to generate the 2 keys. Then what is the magic in multiplying 2 prime numbers? Multiplying 2 prime numbers is very easy, but finding the factor from it is often very difficult. When two very large prime numbers are used, it can be nearly impossible to figure out what their factors are. Even using the fastest factoring algorithm we know, which is called General Numbers Field Sieve, it takes a very long time to crack RSA. If using a normal 2.2 GHz single-core CPU, RSA 768 bits takes 2,000 years of computing time, then 24 for 7,481 years, and 2048 would take 300 trillion years. Here are the references used for this presentation. Thank you for listening.